Com and the director of the Houston Comedy Film Festival. And we are joined today by screenwriter Christie Cook. Hello, Christie.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your award nomination at our Summer 2022 event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you please tell us the title of your screenplay and what it's about?
Yeah, the title is Retro Betty, and it's about a young woman who's 18 years old, and she's very much going off the rails, and her parents are worried about some of her extreme views and choices in fashion, amongst other things. And she has a very serious accident, and when she wakes up with the perspective of someone from the 1950s. So she doesn't actually think it's 1950, but she can't function as if it's anything other than the 1950s. So she's woken up the polar opposite of who she used to be. And then she has to go off to college and try and fit in, even though she's incapable of changing. So she's a real fish out of water, and she has to navigate the world as someone who almost doesn't know what technology is about. She doesn't know about people's attitudes towards different things these days. And so everything is a new experience for her. It's as if someone from the 1950s has come back from the dead.
All right. Well, very interesting concept. Can you please give us an idea of what motivated you to write this particular story?
I think I was watching something on TV just about history of feminism, and I was just wondering how people in the past would react to different ideas. And then I wanted to expand that to how would they react to different technologies? Would they see them as good or bad, as a waste of time? Just there are all these things that we take for granted that I think people in the past would have a lot to say about. And I think that's kind of really just what inspired it. And I was thinking a lot about my grandmother as well. She was, I wouldn't call her tolerant, but she was kind. And I do wonder how that personality type would play out today. Because when she died, it was over 20 years ago. She was just a little bit bamboozled by the world and how things are today, the pace of it. And so I just thought, well, I'd love to write a younger version of her.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
And what kind of motivated you to get into writing in the first place? I mean, obviously at some point you were a person with a good idea, and then at some point you crossed over, you decided, I'm going to put this on paper and create something that people can actually look at. How did that happen for you?
Well, in other jobs, in other employment, I was always asked to write things for people, and to sort of just touch up writing. So I was always sort of in that habit anyway. And then I was also interested in sketch comedy and acting, but I really started getting into all of this about 8 years ago when my son was born. But I didn't actually have time to pursue the acting side of things and leave the house all that much, but I knew I could work on my writing from home. So I really just, I'm interested in a few things, but I started with the writing because that's something I could do from home and I could learn from home. So I thought, I'd like to spend a good decade on writing and see where it takes me. Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
What are you working on in the future?
I have a few projects that I'm working on. One of them is it's kind of it's a horror comedy, and it's about a group of orphans, again 1950s, who have sort of been raised by a vampire.
All right, that's an interesting concept.
And it's another story that sort of moves forward into the future as well. So I guess that's sort of a common theme. I think that's just my favorite era in history, the 50s and the 60s, just all the change. I think it's just fascinating, all the change that's happened since then. So I think that has inspired a lot of my work.
Well, Retro Betty is very, very strong screenplay, I think, teleplay, I should say, and our judges really enjoyed. I mean, it's nominated for a reason. They enjoyed your central character. I think you had a lot of opportunities to turn that into kind of a drama, and the way
Uh-huh.
that you came out of it in comedy was very refreshing.
Mhm.
And people just like the writing and just how complete and just how the character arc was in such a short few amount of pages compared to like a feature or something like that.
Mhm.
So kudos to you
Thank
for
you.
creating good work.
Thank you very
This,
much.
you're very welcome. The second project that you talked about, is that a feature or is it a series or a short? What is that?
It was going to be a feature, but I've decided it's going to be another short because that seems to be what I do best. I think that's also
Mhm.
how I learnt to write as well. Like I did a few courses through the Second City. So initially I did sketches and I still like writing sketches. And then half-hour pilots. That's kind of where I practiced a lot. So that's just my habit. And I think I do that better than anything else. Not ruling out features in the future, but for now, I've got a lot of half-hour ideas that I'm just working on. Yeah.
All right. I've noticed in the past, 8, 10 years, I guess, we've become more of a series minded culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to see actors and their character arcs develop over long periods of time,
Yeah.
10 hour series, 20-hour series.
Yep.
It's really changed a lot from the
Mm-hmm.
from the feature film days. So it's kind of cool. That's where you're starting. And I guess, in many ways, it doesn't seem as daunting if you're writing a feature and you're telling yourself, okay, I'm going to write a pilot. Are you kind of
Mm-hmm.
seeing the whole series mindset take over as well, or is that all in my head?
No, I'm seeing that. Yeah.
Cool.
I think as well, what I like about it, though, just as a writer, is that with a series, I feel like you get the chance to rewrite it and change things when necessary. I feel like there's something very final about a feature. And even though you would do lots and lots of rewriting, you sort of only get one shot. Whereas
Hmm.
I feel like, at least with the episodical, things can be changed from season to season and even episode to episode if necessary. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but it is just my preference. It feels safer, and I'm still enjoying that safe
Sure.
zone of writing. Yeah. Mm.
Well, I sincerely appreciate your time today. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Oh no, I'm just really excited to have been nominated, and I'm really glad you've enjoyed the pilot. And yeah, thanks very much, and I hope to get there in August.
All right. Sounds good. Well, have a good one. And we
Thanks, you
appreciate
too.
you. All right.
Thank you so much. Okay.